Versus Emotion podcast, organic conversations with creative minds. Hello, world, and welcome back to Versus Emotion. I'm Laura Lemy, founder of VIM, writer and producer of this space. All our guests on VIM do represent somebody really unique to us. Every single guest is an example of talent and soul waves. Imagine this space as a digital time capsule. And I'm so excited today because we have organic conversations with creative minds. This is not just a creative mind, this is a super talented singer, songwriter, performer, entertainer, multi award winning artist, Natasha Watts.
Hey.
Well, Natasha, hi.
Hello and hello world, and thank you especially to Laura for having me and sharing my story and sharing what I'm about. You make a difference, so thank you.
Oh, thank you so much. And you make a difference. And your latest album, believe me, it does make a huge difference. It made me believe again in soulful music coming from the UK. So, and by the
Wow,
way, you're my first UK guest of
love
this
that.
series of Versus Emotion, yes. And
Yeah.
actually, this is the episode, the Christmas episode that will close this fall, autumn, winter kind of period, and then we'll be back in January. But let's get let's get to you, Natasha, because I've got so much to ask you, so much I want to talk about. First of all, we met just briefly in Ministry of Sound
Yes.
and a few years ago, and you were getting ready to get on stage, and that night you made me dance like crazy, crazy. So amazing live performance. I don't even remember who the DJ was. I didn't care because he was all about you for me.
Oh, do you
Sorry,
know?
I'm just saying the truth.
No, but
And
listen, any time I've performed at Ministry of Sound, for me personally, as a raver from the 90s, it's
yeah,
always like it's like the epitome of the UK house scene. You get to perform at
absolutely.
Ministry of Sound. So every time I get to go there and put on a leotard or tassels, you have to bring the energy because there is however many couple of thousand people waiting to be entertained. So if you don't bring it when you're doing ministry, then you never bring it.
But you, but you bring it every single time. Are you kidding me? You know that video, that live performance with the Japanese orchestra, when you
Yes,
actually do a remake of Runaway,
someone.
right?
Yeah, yes.
Oh, that performance is fantastic, and what
Oh,
an amazing group of musicians and
yeah.
vocalists, and
They
yeah, where
are.
was that? Was it in
They
Osaka?
It was in Osaka, and the guys, they're 100 Birds Orchestra. They've been going for about 25, no, maybe 27 years now. And they do music as a hobby, but they are phenomenal.
Wow.
Some of them do music full time, but the majority of them, it's a hobby. And I was absolutely blessed to be able to go over to Osaka, and the night that Runaway was recorded, we actually did two shows back to back in Billboard Live in Osaka. We did 18 songs and 15 were my original compositions. Oh, no, sorry, 13 or 14 was original compositions. The rest were covers. Runaway was one of them. And we actually released that as a live album on Universal in Japan, and you can get it on Apple Music, and I released it as a physical CD in the UK.
Oh wow! So can we find it on your website?
Yeah, yes, that's on my website. You can also go to Apple Music. I know it's specifically on Apple, because Universal and Japan tend to work with Apple Music over Spotify.
Oh, I will go there as soon as we finish talking today.
Yes,
I can't wait to listen to the rest because the video was only about one song, but I can imagine
it
there'll be
was.
like
I
18
tell you
of
what
them.
I'll do. I'll get your address after here and I'll send you the physical copy.
Oh, yes. I'm so happy. Thank you, Natasha.
Mm.
Thank you. I
It's,
wish I was there actually in person
oh,
as well.
it
That,
was really, for me, it was in my top five musical moments. And to step out on stage, I think there was 28 musicians on stage. To step out on stage and do a live show like that absolutely blew me away. Yeah.
he blew me away when I saw the video. I was like, wow, I wish I was there. I would have danced my knees off. And I
Oh,
think my knees are completely fine.
there are no knees left.
And so you, as I said before, your album is something that really warmed up my soul. So music is my life, and it just came out in November. There are like 11 amazing, beautiful tracks, one after the other. One, every single track, every single song. I was telling you before, it's a different journey. Makes me feel happy, dancey, nostalgic, sad. Tell us more about this album. How did it come
Wow.
up to be what it
Yes.
is? What's the concept behind it?
Well, so the idea started last year. We came out of obviously COVID, and I hadn't been doing music because the world stopped. And I really was determined to deliver a project that broke boundaries, that became full radio play, that really got people up on the dance floor, because my previous albums, they had good songs on there, but there wasn't necessarily the dance floor fillers. And I made a decision last year that I was going to invest heavily into this project. And the album cost me over £30,000, which is a lot of money for an independent. But I said, if I'm going to do it, I want real musicians. I want musicality. I want to have complete control of what I'm doing, which I did. I made every decision. I made crossed every T and ticked every I, to make sure that it was the project that I wanted. I've always written every single song on my albums anyway, so this was the same, but I wanted to work with different producers rather than just having one producer oversee the whole project. And I think by doing that, I brought more creativity, and that meant that every song had a different element. I had the orchestra do the strings. There was a 12-string section in the ballad at the end of the album. I worked with Tonya Comedes and Mike Pato, who are at the pinnacle of what they do in terms of UK soul sound and UK soulful house sound. I worked with Ziggy Funk, who I love and respect. Dave Doyle, I flew out to Marbella and did some songs there. And the powerful I Am Me was written because it was just a day where my menopause was really bad. And so the I Am Me is a song of power. It's a song of affirmation. It's, for any woman that's been going through any kind of like struggle with how they're feeling mentally, physically, emotionally, because we get to a certain point in life and you do feel lost. You do lose who you are. You do lose sight of stuff. So I wanted to try and deliver stuff that people can relate to. So I Am Me, for me, is about women, and that powerful I am me, but owning it, loving it. You've got to love who you are. You've got to look inside yourself. Part of my life, which you spoke about earlier, that was written about friendships. As women, when we get to this stage in our life, you have strong friendships because your girls are your go-to, are your confidants, are your sounding boards. Yes, you might be married and you might have a partner and you might lean on them, but there's something different about a friendship that you have with another female, that only another female can understand. And I'm really fortunate that I've got friendships that I would walk over hot coals for, because they really do mean the world. So when you listen to the lyrics of Part of My Life, you know, my life would be so different without these women in it. So
Absolutely, yeah,
th-
yeah, and
when when
I
I
could see that in the video as well.
yeah,
The video is really beautiful. It's very
thank you.
atmospheric, and it's very. It's true. There is a particular kind of love with your
Yeah,
sisters. They're not just blood sisters; they're just
no,
sisters.
is that what people forget with friendships, and this is the real killer. It's a choice. You choose to be friends with these. Family is family, and you get the family that you get, and you can make a choice not to be around that family. but it's still family. Whereas your friendships, they're the choices that you make, and they're the choices that you nurture, because I chose to be friends with these people because of how they make me feel and what they bring to my life. So my friendships are really key. So when I go and do my shows and I talk about the songs, because I like to explain to people who might not have seen me, this is what the song is about. And I say, I wrote this about friendship. So then when they listen with a different ear. So then they have more of an understanding. And I've seen grown women in my audiences several times absolutely crying their eyes out, sat next to their best friend going, this is for you. And I love that.
Yeah.
One of the things I love the most about my music and my lyrics and my performance is I touch people, and I'm not into going out and drinking. You know, there isn't any other real hobbies that I love, but if I can move somebody with my music, that's my calling. That's what I'm here for, to emote and make people feel something special about someone or something or them even. I think that's my calling. That's my
And
gift.
I'm telling you, you moved quite a few people in this household with your album. Because I was telling you before, not only me, but the younger generation, they're a lot into K-pop. I was telling you before, and they
Yeah.
listen to your album. Quite a few of them are around today. Hopefully, nobody can hear the noises I'm making.
Well,
Uh,
I think there are lots of really good artists in the UK, but unfortunately, we don't always get the platform that we not only need or that we deserve. And for whatever reason, wherever the breakdown of it is, it's sad, because I know a lot of my peers who are super talented and write amazing songs, and they might not necessarily have the money to get the promotion because everything costs money, or they might not have the drive to break through those barriers. See, I'm really dogmatic. I work every single day. I am always at this is my office. I am always in here, and if I can't find a way, I will create a way. If I can't create a way, I will try and bang down whatever door is blocking me, because I am so driven, Laura, to do what I do. And I know there's lots of people that do it all themselves, but you know, from my bookings to my accounts to my social media to my digital marketing to my videos to my everything stops with me. Now that's a
wow,
blessing and a
you
curse.
must be busy.
It's a,
You
it's
must
a
be
bless.
extremely busy.
Yeah, it's a blessing and a curse, but it means that, I'm nearly 50. I don't want to be at a point where I go, "Ah, I wish I'd done that, or I wish I'd tried," or, you know, record labels aren't interested in me per se. I'm too old. They want young
Well,
people.
first of all, 50? No, sorry, you're not 50.
No, I look,
Second of all, you don't look 50 at all. First of all, second of all, I totally get you because it is exactly what I do myself
yeah,
in my small world, okay? Because mine is smaller, much smaller than yours, because it's just a hobby that I have online with the podcasting, and I really, really love when I find independent artists that want to share
mm,
their story. First of all, because to me, you're heroes because I cannot even imagine how difficult it is in the music
yeah,
entertainment business to be just you and your talent. You know what I mean?
yeah,
And
yeah,
you and your talent breaking every barrier possible. And also because I would like you're surely going to inspire people by saying what you just said because you help younger talent or
mm,
talent that keeps a little bit away from the limelights to actually come through and say, I could do the
yeah,
same. I can do
yeah.
the same.
You have to,
So,
if you can dream it, you can believe it, and you can achieve it. That is my mantra. It's always been my mantra. And I do like to give advice to people who, I get people send me messages all the time. Oh, who's your team? Or what can I do? And I'm like, the team starts with you. The team definitely starts with you. And if you're lucky enough to be handed whatever it is that's handed to you, that's great. But most people, it starts with you. And that's where a lot of people drop off, because you have to be You have to have tenacity. You have to have drive. You have to have vision. You have to have understanding. You have to have, I've got rhinoceros skin. My skin is so thick because you have to keep pushing through, pushing through. You know, and we're in a world now with music, people expect to hear it for nothing. So they go straight to one of the streaming sites, they listen to your music, they don't buy your music, they listen to your music. And we all know that the breakdown now to the independent artist is next to nothing for your music. So unless you're getting millions and millions of streams, and even then the payment back is shocking, you know, from but you've now got to give away such music to even get your face out there. And if you've got 100 in excess of 150,000 uploads every day just to one streaming site, how can you compete with that? What I did this year, which I think really changed people's opinions, I did not put my music out. So you said earlier, oh, your album came out in November. It did and it didn't, because actually my album came out in March. But where it came out, it only
Oh,
came out on my website in March. And I was selling, I don't know if you can see this,
yes.
because
Oh, wow. Yes, yes. The
so I was
tape.
it
Tapes are back.
no, it's not a tape.
Oh, let me see. I can't see properly. Oh, okay. It's like a USB key
It's a
within,
USB.
inside a tape.
And
Inside
it
a tape.
yeah, so it
Okay.
looks and so what I was able to
It's
do,
so
Laura,
cute. It looks like a tape. I have this nostalgic thing with
yeah,
tapes myself. So,
it does, but I also have CD. I also had it
yeah.
on vinyl. And so before it was released worldwide digitally, I had the opportunity to recoup the money that I had invested in myself by selling the physicals. And if people wanted it, they had to go to my website and buy it, or they saw me on tour and they bought it when I was performing. So you have to come up with more and more ingenious ways to make it work, because I can't just put it out there worldwide and hope that people listen to it, because they will listen
No,
to it.
because but because that you don't have this big heavy machine behind you.
No.
You
Yeah,
you're driving everything. So
you're
of
driving,
course
but
it
you know,
will be on a yeah,
you sell thousands of these and you recoup, and that's what
of
you've got to
course.
do. You have to.
And
So,
then I bet you invest again in the new
yeah,
album. Yeah.
yes. I have the remix package of the album coming in January. So,
See, I knew that.
yeah, that's really good. That is going to get your knees getting up and shaking again.
I bet it will. I bet it will. I've actually found out about you quite a few years ago as a singer. I didn't know the whole thing that I got to know a few years later when I met you in ministry. And it was that song "Go Slow." Yes, I think it was a "Go Slow" as we just discussed just a few minutes ago. And that song always made me dance so much in clubs everywhere.
Yeah.
It was played everywhere. The song was
Oh,
everywhere.
that's been played
And
so much. And yes, that's had hundreds and hundreds of thousands of hits, which is
of
great,
hits,
you
yeah.
know.
And
But that was,
it's a beautiful, funky soul house, atmospheric kind of
yeah,
summer breeze,
yeah.
amazing dance.
But that was
That's
actually a remix from the hit song on my first album. So,
okay.
yeah, so which is great. You know, at the end of the day, I'm so grateful to everybody that listens to that and kept my name out there, because this I started with Soulful House, which is great. It gave me so much more love, you know. It's great.
But you were exposed to many genres because I know that you've been playing at Jazz Cafe, right? In London and many other jazz festivals and events all over the
Yeah.
world. Uh, and you have that kind of soulful voice that really goes well with jazz, with blues, with funk, with soulful house, as we said. And I read that your dad was a DJ. I didn't know that. And tell us a little bit more about that. I mean, really talk about your dad being a DJ and your sister being very much into soulful music. Um,
Yeah.
how did that influence your decision to?
Well, funny enough, so I actually, as a small child, I trained. I used to go to like a dance school, and I wanted to do musical theatre. But I grew up in a household where my dad used to play in like a reggae sound clash. So we would in the 80s there was these things called blueses. So people would come from all over to our home, put these massive speakers in the house, and it was dub. It was like boom, it was all about. And of course, I was a real small child then. Um, but then on the days that we weren't having house parties, my mum would listen to country and western, and then my dad would listen to rhythm and blues or really heavy reggae. And then my sister was really into 80s, 70s and 80s soul. So I had this real mix of, and then obviously there was the normal charts, because in them days there was one chart. That was it, and everybody listened to that chart, whether it would be the chart from the States or the chart from England. But I think growing up, you had much more wider variety of music because of that different genres in the one chart, whereas now you have a chart for this and a chart for that, and so I'm not really sure what's stand out and what's not. But what that meant was I was able to have these different influences, which I think transcend now into my music, because, I've got reggae on albums, I've got soul, I perform jazz, anything with a bit of a is for me. But I'm so grateful to have grown up in that household where music was everything, and I'm an old soul. I think I write like an old soul. I think, for me, the greats are still great. I don't know if I would say any of the modern artists would touch my soul like the older sound, and I know we spoke earlier on, but you and I share, one of the best female singers as our passion. And Miss Gladys Knight is, for me, the
Yes.
epitome of what an artist should be. She emotes. She can make you cry. She's made me cry many times.
Listen, now that you just mentioned Miss Gladys Knight, please can you tell us about when you played with her at the Royal Albert Hall in London, and then I think you went around the UK and Scotland as well. You went to Glasgow, you went to Birmingham, etc. How was it? How did that happen?
Well, do you know what's really interesting about that story? When I was 17, I moved to America, and I was pursuing my music career then, but with Frankie Beverly and Maze. And I lived with one of the members of Maze. And I met Miss Gladys when I was 17, because she was the opening act for Maze. I got an amazing picture that she signed for me, and I had some words of wisdom from her, and it was just lovely. So then you roll forward to 2015, and I was invited by the promotions company to be her opening act. So I managed to get myself there, and I did seven shows with her across the country in some of the most prestigious halls in the UK. And I presented this picture back to her, and I said, hi, I met
Wow,
you when I.
so she didn't know it was you coming to
She did.
open for her.
No, well, she knew it was me coming, but she didn't know that I'd met her before
Yeah,
until I
that's what
spoke
I
to
mean.
her.
She didn't know it was the same person that she had
Yes,
met when you were 17. Yeah, yeah,
yeah. And
okay.
when I showed her the picture, she was like, "Oh my God, that's such an old picture." Because then they had proper pictures, on
Oh, yeah.
photo paper, not paper ones now. And she was so pleased that I'd pursued my career and that, gone full circle, and here I am opening up for her. And since then, I get invited every year to come and see her when she's on tour, and I hang out with her people, and because everyone was so amazing, and she'll be back on tour next year, and I will no doubt be there again to go and see her. So it's great.
Fantastic. Let me know. I might just join you.
Yeah, she'll be at the Royal Albert Hall again. So yeah, there's lots of
Fantastic.
dates.
We might make it a day to meet there and have some dinner as well. Um, Another thing that I really wanted to ask you is you're so incredible on stage. I really get goosebumps when I see you there. Your energy is so contagious. It's fantastic to see you. Just maybe you want to get up and dance, or if you're doing a ballad or something more, slow and soulful. Most of the times I have tears in my eyes. So you're very
Oh,
good at communicating your talent and your music, and your lyrics are so incredible as well. So can you tell me how does that feel, and what is it really that makes you feel more alive on stage?
honestly, Laura, that is the happiest place for me. That is my therapy. That is my shrink. That is my my drug. My I am not me if I can't do that. The happiest thing for me is bringing joy and happiness to other people. I've performed since I was like 7. So in whatever capacity it is, maybe I was the court jester in a previous life, I don't know, but I just get so much happiness out of making people smile. So yesterday I performed in front of 600 people on a boat on the Thames, which was great. um Next week I'll be at the Jazz Cafe, and it doesn't matter where I am as long as I'm singing. As soon as I step out on stage, I don't think I become like an alter ego or anything. I just am home. That's me.
Yeah, that's true. So many artists say, "Oh, that's my alter ego on stage." I actually do believe that real
Yeah.
artists don't need that because
No,
this
it's
is who
not.
they are.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's not,
yeah, yeah.
it's because it's not a facade. I don't come off the
No.
stage and act a different way. If anything, I'm elevated to, to be that person. I just recently did like 15 dates with Alexander O'Neill. I was opening up for him, and we were playing from 700 people to 3,500 people, depending on the night and the venue. And it was just every night I could not wait to get back out on stage and do my thing, and I'm like, oh, have I got to get off already? I love
Then
it.
it goes so fast. It goes
It
so fast.
does.
Yeah,
It
and
does. Yeah.
the invisible wire of communication that you're able to
Yeah,
establish with the audience, that's magical. That's like
it is.
magical. I can feel it from from the other side of the stage when I'm really in front of someone that like you that really touches my soul. Then I can feel your energy, and you can
Yes.
feel mine because it's a
Brilliant.
complete wonderful exchange. Um, and you've been traveling so much, not only in the UK, but all over the world. We talked
Yeah.
about Osaka before in Japan, but I saw a lot of very familiar places like Italy.
Yes. See, see, see.
Sì, sì. Dove hai suonato tanto, where you played so many
Yes.
times.
Yeah.
Um, in the south, in the center of Italy, so Rome, Napoli. Uh, I'm from Napoli, so I have a little soft spot for that place. Um, Amalfi, beautiful, beautiful places. And can you tell me one of these amazing worldwide spaces where you really felt like that was your moment,
Oh
that one
gosh.
moment in time, like Whitney Houston sings, like the one moment in time.
Wow. I'm blessed to say I have so many beautiful memories. I think the last time I counted, it might be like 49, 50 countries that I've been to sing. Um, and for
Wow,
me,
50 countries.
yeah,
That's
it's
amazing.
it's been phenomenal. Um, standout moments for me were singing on Stromboli. I know we spoke about Stromboli,
Yeah.
but for me, because I'm singing on the beach, the sand is black, the sky is black, but you turn around and you can see the lava trickling like it's live every day.
Yeah.
Every day there's lava, and no one, they're so nonchalant. Everyone's, it's nothing, nothing, niente, niente. And,
Yeah.
and you're like, but it's live.
This
And
is
they're like,
amazing, guys. You don't know. And then people, actually in Italy, but because we don't only have Stromboli, we have another volcano in the Catania, Etna, right?
yes,
And then we have
Etna,
another
which I've
one,
seen.
Vesuvio. Exactly. So
Yeah.
to us, it's almost regular. Like,
Yeah,
yeah,
niente,
a little bit of.
niente. But that was such a beautiful moment because the glow from the lava and then
Yeah.
the trickling down, and you're like, it's just not, it doesn't feel real. And there was
Yeah.
another time I was on it's like a barge, what they call a barge, and it was a square platform that was floating. We was in a lake in Norway, and it was designed to look like an island, and it had palm trees and a band, which was me and this my first ever band, and we was floating on this lake with live music. So we're talking
Amazing.
electrics. I mean, we probably could have really
Of
died,
course. No, no, let's
but it
not
was
go there. I'm sure it was
yeah,
all safe. I'm sure it was all safe. And
yeah.
sometimes going back to the image, you just reminded me of something. One night there was the volcano trying to erupt a little bit with that, that flickering kind of light that you see when the lava is coming out and it's red, and then the dark sky, and then the moon was red. So
Whoa,
yeah, so you had this
yeah.
black scenery with the lava coming out and the red of the moon
Mm,
echoing the red of the lava. So yeah, I can imagine, and doing that while you're listening to music or performing music. Wow, that must have been
exact.
amazing.
Yeah, I've been blessed to be in some absolutely truly spectacular settings, and then my voice be carried over this moment, from the Middle East to Asia to Australasia to all over America, and you think, God, it's a blessing, and I really do not lose sight of that. So, and then equally, just walking out on some of the world's biggest stages and being like, here I am, and I'm only 5'1", so I come out like, wow.
Well,
Yeah.
you have. I told you this way of like making everybody be totally present. Because
Oh,
sometimes you go and listen to music and you get distracted or you turn around. With you, it's impossible. You need to be present. You are going to be present because you're totally, yeah, you're totally engaging, and that's wonderful. That's absolutely
well,
wonderful.
listen, as long as I say to people, as long as I can do this job, right, I can go to tour on tour once a year and then have a few guest spots and just keep making music. That's all I want. I'm not looking for world tours. I'm not looking for number one records even. As long as my fan base continue to grow, I can continue to do what I love doing, whether it be 100 people or 1,000 people or whatever it is. As long as I can do that, I'm winning. I'm absolutely winning.
But you actually had many world tours because you've been to 50 countries. I mean, seriously, not even 50 Cent recently has been on so many, also
Right.
in so many, yeah. Um, and also, I just wanted to ask you, tell us a little bit more what's happening this week and next week for
Yes.
your live performances and where you're going to be. You said
Yeah.
you're going to be at the Jazz Cafe next week?
Yes. Yeah, I'm going to be at the Jazz Cafe next week for an event called Dance for Stevie. Bobby and Steve, who were the original veterans of Soulful House in the UK.
Of
Um,
course.
yes, I used to work for them when I was 16. I used to stuff. Do you remember years ago, people would put flyers in envelopes and post them out? I don't know if you
Of
remember that. That
course.
was
Yes,
That was the
yes.
original, like, MailChimp. And
Oh, absolutely. There were people going around with shopping trolleys full of
yes,
flyers
and
and
I used,
just bring them around the shops and, the
yeah,
places. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I used to stuff the envelopes and send out the flyers. And unfortunately, when COVID hit, Bobby and Steve got very sick. And Bobby pulled through, but Steve, sadly, to this day, is still very, very poorly. So what we do is these different events. So I'm singing for them on the 29th of December at the Jazz Cafe, and it's comedy and music, but I'm singing alongside the amazing Miss Rochelle Fleming. I mean, hello.
Oh,
And
wow.
yes, and Robert Owens, and then I literally, the following week, I will be up in Blackpool for the Blackpool Luxury Soul Weekend. There's 1,000 people going to be there, and I'm headlining on the Saturday night alongside Hill Street Soul and Shayla Prosper. Then coming into January, I've got a new tour scheduled for April next year. So I have been putting together all those dates. It starts April the 10th. I'm in Liverpool, then Manchester, then Sheffield, then Newcastle, then down to Leicester, and then home. Um, and then on top of that, I will be in London on the 24th, 25th of April at the Pheasantry and Pizza Express Chelsea. And then I've got my biggest show on April the 26th, which hasn't launched yet, but I'll be launching it this week. And that's in Essex at the Civic Hall. It's me, and I've got a special guest, Imani, who's amazing. And we are singing some Soul Diva classics alongside a load of original compositions. So there's a lot going on.
Great. And we and everybody can find all this information on your website, right? Can you tell us,
Yeah.
yeah, can you tell us a little bit more about your website and where we can find you online and how to interact with you? Because you're
Yes.
very, the thing about you, you're also very open to, talk with the public and the audience.
Yes.
I think one of your albums came out because you actually ask the audience what they wanted or what they were expecting, which is incredibly fantastic.
Yeah.
And you're also, I like that you're very strong, but at the same time you have that vulnerable side that is really sweet to see, and it's really emotionally engaging because everybody has got those moments, but not everybody is able to be vulnerable. Being vulnerable is a big strength, I
Yeah. I
believe.
think I think what I love about my fan base, and I think maybe that's what my fan base love about me, I am very open, very honest. If I'm having a bad day, I do share it, because I also don't want people to believe that there's a fallacy that I'm happy every single day, because that's not real. It's not real. It's not the norm. There are down days. I do struggle with this work sometimes. And I share my journey so people can see that I haven't just got there and it's all been perfect. There are dark moments, there are struggles, there is frustration, and I get really frustrated with the industry, but then the next day I'll be absolutely fine. So I think when like yesterday, I met a lot of people who have been following what I do, and every message I answer, every comment I try and respond. You can't always do it, but I really try, and I think it's that people can relate. It's all about being relatable, and the
And the
normality.
bond gets stronger and stronger
Yeah,
because when,
I think, yeah.
yeah.
And I think people have seen my journey, and they see the progress and they see the struggle. So therefore they wish to come and support it more. I mean, going back to my website just quickly, again, I
Yes.
oversee the whole website. I have a guy here, and he's amazing. And so he's my digital guy, because I can't write websites. So I need help with
Well,
that.
what a shame. Sorry, no, this is not good enough.
What do you mean you can't do the website?
What
No,
do you
so
mean you can do?
no, he does great. So my website is natashawattsmusic.co.uk. You can get everything there. All my merchandise is there. Every single one of my shows, and I've got shows every month. until July at the moment, although not all of them are put up, but I sort of drip feed it out. But April is a very busy month. I've got also got a dinner and dance which I put on. I hire a hotel, we sit down, have a 3-course meal together, we laugh, we joke, I sing, we dance, I have DJs, and then we all have breakfast together. It's
By your
great.
music, and I'm listening to your album non-stop every day.
Brilliant.
And then where can we find you online? Because apart from your website, you're very active on Instagram, aren't you? And Facebook,
Yeah,
yes.
I'm getting better, Laura. I'm getting better. I know the importance of it, and I know that there's some people that will only deal with certain social media sites. And
Channels, yes.
yeah, and people can find me. Normally, if you Google Natasha Watts singer, you will find me wherever.
Everywhere.
I've
Yes,
managed to
yes,
get
yes.
that handle because there's a lot of Natasha Watts. So Natasha Watts singer means you will definitely find me. And yeah, and there's a lot of really bad videos posted.
But that's the organic part that we love. That's really the organic part that we promote here.
Yeah.
And you can see the conversation was super organic. We didn't have a script. We didn't have questions written
Oh,
down. We didn't have. But I'm telling you, your presence, your aura, your energy is so contagious, and it's so good to
uh,
speak to someone that really makes me feel like we are in an intimate kind of conversation in a
it's
living room,
lovely.
sitting together. That's what we like to, and people love that because it's been a few years now, but versus emotion has become almost like I'm gonna take my cup of coffee or tea and relax, or I'll have my glass of wine and listen to
Yes.
what Laura has got to say.
Well, the thing is, we've all got a purpose. We've all got something to say, and I think we all need to share our real feelings more. Share what's going on,
Yes,
the good, the bad, and the indifferent. Because with the fallacy that we call the world at the moment, there is so much superficial rubbish. You know, people need to pull away from that because it is absolutely killing our younger generations from the point of view they are growing up
yes,
thinking that certain things are normal and it's not. You know, it's like they're not even going to be mentally prepared for rejection or heartache or misunderstanding because, people pretending to be perfect on social media. It's not real. It's just not real. It's
it's
sad.
not. And if you look at some of the old pictures of Polaroid that we used to take,
Mm.
it was that's what it was. I mean, you take a picture, this is it. There's
Yeah,
nothing you can do to the picture
yeah,
to change it. And those are the best memories, right?
they
Because they're
they are.
really
They're real.
real. I thank you so much for being here with us,
Uh,
and thanks for telling us more about your wonderful album. Music is my life. I'm telling you, I'm listening to it every single day. It starts my day and it finishes my day in a
oh,
very peaceful way. So I'm really grateful for your time, and I hope to see you soon. Maybe next year after your April
absolutely.
kind of big, amazing tour. It would be good to have you back and see what's
Yeah,
next.
absolutely. Amora, grazie. Thank you.
Prego tesoro, prego
Thank you
tesoro.
so much for having me, and thank you to the listeners who've tuned in and not gone away and had a cup of tea and just carried on listening. No, I honestly, without you guys supporting what I do across the world, I couldn't do it. So honestly, from the bottom of my heart, grazie mille. It means so, so much to me. And I would love to
Prego.
catch up with you in the new year. When I'm in London, we'll grab a coffee. Yes, let's do a coffee
Yes,
and
or dinner or something together for
something.
sure. We have to see each other in person again
I would
because I
really
only
love
saw
that.
you that time in ministry and it was very
Yeah,
quick because you were about to perform. So
yeah,
we
I would
didn't
love
have
that.
time to have a
Yeah.
little chat. Don't go anywhere. I'm going to be back with you in a second. Thank you,
Goodbye.
everyone. Bye.